Good afternoon, and thank you for attending today. My name is Sonia Lizondo. I'm a contract specialist for the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. This is a pre-proposal conference for the Internal Control System and Related Services RFP, number 452-2026-001. On the panel today, we have Hub Coordinator Eric Williams, Contracts and Procurement Coordinator Juanita Riley, Chief Information Officer John Fowler, Assistant General Counsel Hal Wolf, and Administration Director Rose Wheeler. A copy of the sign-in sheet will be posted on the ESBD Electronic State Business Daily and the Texas Lottery website prior to the next business day. This is for sharing information between prime vendors and subcontractors. Communication will be primarily through ESBD and Texas Lottery's websites. Emails will also be used for the RFP. We strongly advise you to check with your IT department to ensure that our emails will not be filtered away. Some businesses block out the phrase lottery, so you won't be able to receive emails from the Texas Lottery if the filter does not allow it to come through. This conference is being recorded. You will be allowed to ask general questions at the end of each part. Please use the raise your hand feature and we will enable your mic to allow you to ask your questions. Our Contracts and Procurement Coordinator, Juanita, will be monitoring the Q&As. We will review the recording after the conference and restate the questions and answers in the QA document, which will be released in accordance with the schedule of events. We will give our best responses to your questions today. However, any questions we cannot answer today will be answered in writing and will be included in the Q&A document. Please note, the written Q&A document is our final answer. Following this conference, if you think of additional questions, you have an opportunity to submit these in writing. These are your opportunities to ask questions, and we encourage you to do so regarding the requirements of the RFP. If you are unsure of language written in the RFP or need further clarification, this is your chance to receive the information you need. After proposals are received, it is then the Texas Lottery's time to ask questions and or seek clarification if needed. Please note that any oral communication that would alter or amend the RFP as written is not binding. Any and all changes or modifications to the RFP will be made in writing and posted on the ESBD and the Texas Lottery's website. You are encouraged to check these websites throughout this process and once more before submitting your proposal. Please note that there may be several RFPs posted on the Texas Lottery Program's website at one time, so be sure that you're viewing the correct RFP for updates. This RFP is open to all vendors who perform the services. To submit a proposal, you do not have to be registered on the SMBL, which stands for Centralized Masters Bidders List, or be a Hub certified, nor is there any approved vendor list. We will now briefly review the RFP by parts. While we may discuss only certain sections or provisions of the RFP during this conference, all sections and provisions of the RFP are important, and you should read and understand the entire RFP before submitting your proposal. You will have an opportunity after each part to ask general questions. We will begin with Part 1, General Information. Under the Purpose section, Section 1.5 Schedule of Events. This section includes critical dates for this procurement. If there are any changes to these dates, up to the deadline for proposals, an amendment will be posted on the ESBD and Texas Lottery's website. In Section 1.8, Proposals subject to the Texas Public Information Act. Because we are a state agency, proposals are subject to the Public Information Act, also known as Open Records Act. During the procurement process, we will not release any information contained in your proposal. However, after the contract is awarded, your entire proposal is subject to this act and is considered public information. If there is any information in your proposal that is confidential and exempt from disclosure under the Texas Public Information Act, you must mark it as confidential. Examples of confidential information may be financial information or information that you consider trade secret or proprietary. It is important that you mark every applicable page and or section that you consider confidential, and if possible, mark which exception of the Texas Public Information Act it falls under. The Public Information Act is located under Texas Government Code Chapter 552. Also, you cannot mark your entire proposal confidential. The Public Information Handbook is located on the Office of the Attorney General's website, which lists all the exceptions. If you have information that you consider confidential, please respond to Section 1.8 and list the information, including a brief commentary or justification, in addition to making individual sections and/or pages. Juanita, are there any questions on Part 1?
Sonia, there are no questions on Part 1.
Thank you. Part 2, Proposal Process. Section 2.1, Contact Person. I am the sole point of contact for the RFP. Directed to me, including any hub questions. Section 2.4, Questions. Questions shall be submitted via email by the deadline in the schedule of events. Questions submitted after the deadline in the schedule of events will not be answered. Responses will be posted on the Texas Lottery and ESBD websites on or before the date listed in the schedule of events. Section 2.5, Submission of Proposals. Proposals shall be submitted via email by the deadline in the schedule of events in the format prescribed in this section. Section 2.5.1, Electronic Delivery Submission. Responses shall be sent via email to procurement@lottery.state.tx.us. Proposers shall place the RFP name and number along with the proposer name into the subject line of their email. Please submit one signed original proposal, one copy of evidence of financial soundness, one signed original cost proposal, and one signed original of Part 5. These must be in a searchable and unprotected portable document format, or PDF. Each PDF file attachment shall be a separate document and clearly named. The proposal shall not exceed 300 pages. Be sure that your proposal contains responses to all sections and parts of the RFP. Be sure your proposal numbering corresponds with that of the RFP. You may provide a blanket acknowledgement and acceptance for parts 1, 2, and 3 unless a section requires a specific detailed answer. Parts 4 and 6 require a section-by-section response. That means for our 4.1, we're looking for 4.1 in your response that corresponds to the RFP. If proposers feel a section does not provide a detailed response, then it is acceptable to state that you agree and will comply. Section 2.5.6. The proposer's commitment, or Attachment A, and the background information certification, Attachment D1, must be signed by an officer or agent of proposer with the authority to contractually bind the proposer, and the signed original attachment must be included in the original proposal. Section 2.5.9. Please note, copyrighted proposals are unacceptable and may be rejected as non-responsive. Section 2.6, Response Format and Contents. This section covers the format and contents for which your proposal must be organized, which includes letter of transmittal, executive summary, section by section response to the RFP, see section 2.5.3, evidence of financial soundness, one separate PDF, hub subcontracting plan, one separate PDF, cost proposal, one separate PDF, proposer's commitment, which is attachment A, and background information certification, attachment D1. Section 2.7, letter of transmittal. The letter must state that the proposal is valid for 270 days. Also, include an overview of why your company is most qualified and include a statement accepting the terms and conditions in Part 3 and are any exceptions to such. Section 2.8, executive summary. The summary should be a full and concise summary of your proposal, excluding cost information and not exceed 5 pages. Section 2.10, proposer's cost proposal. Cost proposal must be in the format included in attachment G and needs to be in a separate PDF file. We only need the one signed original cost proposal. Disclosure of costs in the body of the written proposal may be cause for disqualification. The PDF file should only contain the cost proposal. Do not include any marketing materials or other information in your cost proposal. The cost proposal is not opened until after the proposal is scored on its technical merit. Therefore, any additional materials that are included in the cost proposal will not be evaluated. Section 2.11, multiple proposals. Proposers may submit only one proposal and one cost proposal. If a proposer submits more than one proposal, all proposals from the proposer may be rejected. Section 2.12, changes, modifications, and cancellations. Any RFP changes, modifications, or cancellation will be posted on the Texas Lottery and ESBD websites. Section 2.15, proposal evaluation. The scoring matrix is attachment F and will be used for evaluation of proposals in response to this RFP. Please note, there are two pass-fail categories, hub subcontracting plan and financial status of the proposer. Your proposal essentially goes through 4 phases once it's submitted. The first, initial assessment for compliance and completeness. 2, it is reviewed for financial analysis and HSP. 3, it is reviewed and evaluated for its technical merit. And 4, the cost proposal is opened and reviewed. If at any given time your proposal is disqualified, you will receive notice stating such. Juanita, are there any questions on part 2?
There are no questions on part 2.
Thank you. Part 3, contractual terms and conditions. This part describes the terms and conditions which apply to the procurement process and which will become part of the contract executed pursuant to this RFP. Please read over this entire RFP document to ensure that you fully understand and will comply with all provisions. Any exceptions to the RFP should be clearly stated in the letter of transmittal, providing specific and detailed reasons for each exception, along with suggested alternative language. The contract resulting from the RFP will incorporate the RFP, any amendments, the questions and responses, the contractor's proposal, and cost proposal. Please note a performance bond is required under RFP Section 3.38 and is required under the State Lottery Act. Therefore, We cannot accept alternatives. Under Section 3.65.1, the contractor will be required to take the TDLR's cybersecurity training program and sign the information security agreement. Juanita, are there any questions on Part 3?
Sonia, there are no questions for Part 3.
Thank you. Part 4, required information. Sections 4.1 through 4.4. Although these sections seem brief in the RFP, these sections require proposers to gather, compile, and submit a great deal of detailed documentation. Please read these sections in depth and provide all the information in your section-by-section responses. So for 4.1 in the RFP, we want to see 4.1 in your proposal. Section 4.5, conflict of interest. In this section, you are asked to disclose any actual, potential, and/or perceived conflicts of interest. Please review this section and make any disclosures. Section 4.6, financial soundness. The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, known as TDLR, does a thorough financial analysis of all proposals. Please provide the information requested under this section. If you feel this information is confidential, please mark it as such. This is a pass-fail category on the scoring matrix. It is critical that you provide the requested information. Section 4.7, background investigations. TDLR reserves the right to conduct an in-depth background investigation on the apparent successful proposer. Section 4.7.2. A background investigation may be conducted on contractually defined vendor principals, meaning those who will be directly involved in selling or leasing the goods or performing the services subject to this RFP or resulting in a contract. This includes any oversight function performed by such individuals. Section 4.7.3, background investigations may be conducted on vendor employees who meet one or more of the criteria under this section. This contract requires a background investigation of employees on site at the Texas Lottery. Background investigations will include fingerprinting. Section 4.7.4. The apparent successful proposer may be required to complete background forms by the prescribed time after the written announcement of the apparent successful proposer by TDLR. As mentioned before, we ask that all proposers complete and submit D1 with its proposal. This is a certification that your company would not be denied a sales agent license under Texas Government Code Section 466.155, which is Attachment D in the RFP. Section 4.8, Disclosure of Interested Parties. If requested, the successful proposer will be required to fill out a 1295 form with the Texas Ethics Commission. This is for contracts over $1 million and if you're not a publicly traded company. Juanita, are there any questions on Part 4?
Sonia, there are no questions on Part 4.
At this time, I will turn it over to Eric Williams, who's going to go over Part 5.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Williams, a hub coordinator for the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. I will cover the hub subcontracting plan, or HSP, which is a very crucial element of your proposal. If you are not the individual responsible for preparing the HSP, please share this information with them and recommend they watch the video of this pre-proposal conference, which will be posted on the Texas Lottery's website. The hub subcontracting plan is used to identify both hub and non-hub subcontractors that will be utilized under the awarded contract. Each proposer, hub or non-hub, Submitting a response to this RFP is required to submit an HSP. No one is exempt. As Sonia previously mentioned, the HSP is a pass-fail element of this RFP. No evaluation points are given for the HSP, and proposers must submit an HSP with their proposal, regardless of their subcontracting intentions. Any proposal received not including an HSP will be rejected, and the technical portion will not be evaluated. So it's important to submit a completed HSP with your proposal. Also, during the reviewing process, if it is determined that your submitted HSP has failed, your proposal will be disqualified and will not be evaluated. The HSP process is governed by a rule established by the Comptroller of Public Accounts. Per Section 5.1 of this RFP, you are responsible for reviewing this rule. Section 5.3, Assistance for Preparation of the HSP. To assist you with the HSP, the agency provides the following resources and assistance. This pre-proposal conference video will be posted on the Texas Lottery website. A copy of a pre-bid proposal conference booklet regarding HSP requirements is available on the Texas Lottery's website. A HSP quick checklist is included in the RFP. Proposers have the opportunity to submit HSP questions, written questions, at any time up until the proposal deadline. However, we suggest you submit questions early to allow yourself the necessary time to address any deficiencies with your plan. You are encouraged to start on your plan as soon as possible to give yourself plenty of time. The HSP Q&A is posted on the Texas Lottery's website and the ESBD, which will be a rolling document, so be sure to check the date posted. Draft HSP submitted on or before the deadline for draft submissions will be reviewed to identify deficiencies and provide feedback. However, we will not state whether your draft HSP has passed or failed. We will conduct one-on-one workshops upon request. These may be conducted via Zoom, Teams, or telephone conference. The purpose of the workshops is to discuss the Hub subcontracting requirements, answer questions specific to conducting the good faith effort, and completing the HSP forms. This process will allow you the opportunity to submit draft HSPs for review by the agency. As previously stated, the process does not guarantee that the HSP submitted with a proposal will pass. It is the proposal's responsibility to understand the requirements of the HSP and to perform all the required steps prior to submitting their HSP. The last date to review any draft HSPs for deficiencies and one-on-one workshops is listed in Section 1.5 of the RFP. All proposers are strongly encouraged to take advantage of all these resources. As per Section 2.1 of the RFP, please forward all questions or requests to Sonia. Section 5.4, Requirements for completing the HSP forms. The definition of a subcontract is very broad and applies to any third-party vendor used to fulfill a portion of the contract. Our definition of a subcontractor is a person who contracts with a successful proposer to work, to supply commodities, contribute toward completing work for the Texas Lottery. In other words, if the successful proposer who is awarded this contract is paying anyone who is not an employee to provide goods and or services, they are very likely subcontracting under this definition. We have identified potential subcontracting opportunities in Section 5.5.1 of the RFP. These areas may or may not be subcontracted depending on the proposer's existing resources, employees, or business model. You are not limited to the list in the RFP. However, if you intend to subcontract any portion of the contract and is not listed, You are responsible for identifying it in your HSP submission. We have provided with the RFP a list of hub vendors by CMBL class and commodity description to assist you in finding potential hub vendors. The agency does not endorse, recommend, or attest to the capabilities of any company or individual listed within the RFP or on the CMBL Hub search directory. Proposers who intend to subcontract any portion of the contract HSP form that they intend to subcontract and must perform one of the 3 good faith effort methods. The goal of the good faith effort is to actively involve hubs in the state of Texas procurement process. Please check the appropriate boxes in section 2, the respondent subcontracting intentions on the HSP form, and perform one of the 3 good faith effort methods. The optional quick checklist will assist you in determining which of the 3 methods you should use. Good faith effort method A has 2 options. Method A option 1, this is the all hub subcontractors method. The proposer may use the all hub subcontracting method to demonstrate a good faith effort for any subcontracting opportunity by submitting documentation that 100% of subcontracting opportunities will be performed by Texas certified hubs. If you use this method, please verify online that the hub vendor is currently an active hub listed on the CMBL. Method A, option 2, meeting the specified hub contract goal. Meeting or exceeding hub contract goal method. The proposer may use the meeting or exceeding hub goal method to demonstrate a good faith effort for any subcontracting opportunity by submitting documentation that it will utilize a combination of non-hub vendors as well as Texas certified hub vendors to perform subcontracting. However, the specified hub utilization goal identified in section 5.4.1 can only be met by the subcontracting opportunities awarded to Texas certified hub vendors. If you use this method, please verify online that the hub vendor is currently an active hub listed on the CMBL. Solicitation method. This option is for the proposer who will perform the good faith effort outreach for each identified subcontracting opportunity listed in the respondent's subcontracting intention section on the HSP forms by providing written notification to at least 3 Texas certified hubs per subcontracting opportunity, providing those 3 Texas certified hubs at least 7 business days to respond. Neither the day on which the notice is sent nor the day on which the proposer submits its response count as one of the required 7 business days. Also excluding holidays and any other day the executive director has closed the agency. Providing the scope of work for each identified subcontracting opportunity for hubs to determine whether they are interested or can provide the required service. Providing a location where the specifications are located, i.e. a link to the posting on the ESBD or physical location. Information regarding insurance and bonding requirements if applicable. And also providing written notification to a minimum of 2 minority women trade organizations and or business development centers, providing them the same information as previously stated regarding allowing 7 business days to respond to the notice, the scope of work, and providing a location where the specifications are located. If any proposer is a mentor in the state of Texas Mentor Protege Program, submitting his protege, who must be a Texas certified hub, as a subcontractor to perform any subcontracting opportunities listed in the respondent subcontracting intentions section on the HSP form, constitutes a good faith effort. Proposers using this method must perform outreach even for areas where the proposer has a pre-existing or exclusive subcontracting relationship that will be used in performance of this contract. If you use this method, again, please verify online that the hub vendor is currently an active hub listed on the CMBL. The final method that I will discuss will be the self-performing method. This method is for the proposer who indicate that their company will not be subcontracting any portion of the contract and will be fulfilling the entire contract with their own existing resources, including its own equipment, supplies, materials, and/or employees will be self-performing. Keep in mind that a pre-existing subcontracting relationship is considered subcontracting, in which case you cannot claim self-performance. A pre-existing subcontracting relationship is a business affiliation your company has with a third-party vendor who is currently supplying your company with goods and/or services and will continue to supply those goods and/or services to assist you in the performance of this contract. If you determine that your company is capable of fulfilling the entire contract with your own equipment, supplies, materials, and/or employees, please check the appropriate box in the Respondent Subcontracting Intention section on the HSP form. Complete Section 3, the Self-Performing Justification section, by providing a detailed explanation of how your company will perform the entire contract with its own employees, supplies, materials, and/or equipment as it relates to Part 6 of the RFP, the scope of services, and complete Section 4, the affirmation on the HSP forms, prior to submitting the HSP with your final proposal. Our evaluation process for proposals received on or before the deadline for proposals is to review and evaluate the HSP and all supporting documentation to determine if the HSP has passed or failed. During our review, we may request clarification of information or representations in your submitted HSP. Again, there are no evaluation points assigned to the HSP. It is strictly pass or fail element. If it is determined that your HSP has failed, the technical portion of your proposal will not be evaluated. Following the award of the contract, any proposed changes to the HSP must be submitted for review and approved by the agency. A written change approval form will be provided by the agency. Subcontracting without prior authorization is a breach of contract. Monthly subcontracting expenditure reports are required as a condition of payment. Also, the successful proposer must provide written notice to each subcontractor informing them of their selection. A copy of this notice must be provided to the agency's hub coordinator no later than 10 business days after the contract award, as stated in section 5.6.1 of the RFP. The notice must specify at a minimum the contracting agency's name and its point of contact for the contract award number, the subcontracting opportunity to be performed, the appropriate dollar value of the subcontracting opportunity, and the expected percentage of the total contract that the subcontracting opportunity represents. Again, we strongly encourage you to take full advantage of all the available resources to assist you with your HSP submission. Once you submit your HSP with a proposal, there is no opportunity to address any deficiencies. Please consult with the schedule of events and make sure that you know which dates are critical in terms of preparing and submitting the HSP. In closing, I will remind you again, if you're not the person who is responsible for completing the HSP, please share this information with them, as well as let them know that today's pre-proposal conference will be available for view on the Texas Lottery's website. Please submit questions regarding the HSP after this conference in writing, and they will be answered and posted on the Texas Lottery's website and the ESBD. HSP questions can be submitted up until the deadline for proposals, which is listed in section 1.5 of the RFP. Sonia, Juanita, are there any questions to part 5 of the RFP?
There are no questions on part 5.
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Sonia.
Thank you, Eric. As Eric mentioned, the HSP Q&A is a running document For any additional questions that we receive, we will add to the same document and revise the date on the document. There will only be one link on our website and one attachment on the ESBD for the HSP questions. So please check the websites often to see any changes since you last viewed it. Now we go on to Part 6, Scope of Services. Part 6 requires a section-by-section response. I will not be going into detail on this section. This is your opportunity to tell us how you will perform the services described in each section. It's not enough to say you can do something. Tell us how you will do it. Provide examples of techniques that you have used for success. Proposers need to demonstrate their abilities to do the work requested. Juanita, are there any questions on Part 6?
Anya, there are no questions for Part 6.
We are towards the end of our conference. Please use the raise your hand feature for any additional questions, or you can submit your questions in accordance with the schedule of events. Here are some final reminders. All scope of services questions must be submitted in writing via email to me by the deadline in the schedule of events. Scope of services questions that are not submitted in writing by the time and date specified will not be answered. If you have a question on the RFP process, you can contact me and I may be able to respond. Generally, this is the case for all sections except Part 6, but don't hesitate to ask. Make notes of all dates in the schedule of events. Proposers are responsible for checking the ESBD and Texas Lottery websites for any and all notices, amendments, and Q&A regarding this RFP. We will not directly email those to you. Prior to submission of your proposal, please review the entire RFP carefully to ensure that you submit all required information and/or documentation. The pre-proposal conference video and sign-in sheet will be on the ESBD and Texas Lottery's website prior to the end of the next business day. Juanita, are there any final questions before we go?
We do have one question. One moment. Okay, Ash Swani, your mic has been enabled, so you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon. So my question is this RFP a totally new RFP, or is this a rebid? Or in case this is a rebid, like who is the incumbent vendor right now handling this project?
This is not the services we've had procured before, and so it's not a new service that we procure. The current vendor is Elsum.
Sorry, who's that? Sorry?
Elsum?
Elsum. Okay. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Sonia, we don't have any additional questions.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
hold
you.
on. Sorry, we have one more. Give me 1 minute. Okay, Hamza, your mic is enabled. You can ask your question. You can unmute yourself.
Yep, thank you. It is a rebid. Thank you, Ashish, for the great question. Is the current vendor also allowed or in on the RFP, or is it closed to the current vendor?
The procurement is open to all vendors.
All vendors.
They can
Okay.
provide the service. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Sonia, that is all the questions.
Okay. This concludes our conference. Thank you again for your attendance and have a great day.